Okay. Hey, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to Wake the Fuck Up Wednesday. Oh my gosh. Today, I want to talk about imposter syndrome. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Hey, Mel. Hey, Bessie. Oh, yeah. 12-degree weather. Totally. Yeah, exactly. Imposter syndrome. People are like, totally, I feel it. So if you're not familiar with what it is, it's that shitty feeling that comes up when you're trying to create something amazing in your life. And then you have this story of like, that's kind of bullshit and not possible. Or who do you think you are to want that? Or people are going to really figure out, like people are paying you right now, but then they're going to figure out that like you're a fraud, right? And we actually believe it. So the imposter syndrome can be so wicked because we sit there and we're like actually buying into the self doubt that arises when really the self doubt kind of has no basis, right? Like it feels like a fact. We think it's a fact, but the reality is it's not a fact. It's just thoughts, but it fucks us over. And then we don't take action, or we get really scared and we play small and we don't want big dreams because we sit there and think, oh, I am supposed to do something less. That's reaching a little too far, right? This self doubt arises and we believe it. And that is where it's a big problem. Not that we have the self doubt, not that we have the imposter syndrome, but that we question our ability and start to believe that thought, right? So, what can we do about it, right? I want to first raise awareness to why this happens, right? It makes sense that we have these thoughts that arise, right? About like, am I really as good as people think I am? Or is this success like one that happens for me a lot is I think like this success is a fluke. Like this wasn't really um, because of my skill or my effort or whatever. It's because I got lucky, right? Or it's because people haven't figured it out yet, like who I really am, right? Yeah. So people are like, totally, I have felt that. Hey, Blanca. Yes. And oh, and Deb's here. Yeah. So listen, we have all of these imposter syndrome thoughts that arise. And in the moment, they feel so real. And ironically, they create the result that we don't take the action needed to take our lives to the next level. Right. Oh, thank you. You can hear the waves. Yes. So I remember, when I was growing up, I didn't have much, right? I grew up in a poor and violent neighborhood, thankfully. Also, for like donations and stuff, we never went hungry. We always had enough in that regard, but it was definitely a day to day thing. But I was taught, hey, you'll always have enough if you use your money for the right thing. And, enough is relative. But the way I grew up, that meant like I could eat, I could have shelter, and I could you know, uh, sleep relatively warm, that kind of thing, right? Then I went on to be a climbing guide, lived out of my car for 7 years. Like, that was awesome. Living out of your car by choice is a great experience. And I, at some point, hit this level of like, okay, I think I've kind of got having enough down. What about, what if I could create more than enough? What would that mean? Right? The idea of creating more than enough was like foreign to my family because we'd always, for generations, barely had enough. I mean, my mom's family didn't even have enough. Like, my mom almost died of very, which is like a nutritional deficiency, right? So, like, um, we can, we, to think sometimes that we are capable of what beyond of what our family legacy is can be such a mind-blowing thing. But here I was really wanting that. I was like, I want to live somewhere that I own. Like, we'd never owned a house. We were, our landlords would move us whenever they wanted to. Oh, I got a family member that needs a place to live now. You have to move out. And, I never felt that sense of security. Like I've got this place. So it was like, I kind of want to earn more than enough so that I can buy a home, or that I can not have be able to save up for an emergency, or be able to take my parents on a really awesome vacation because they never had the means to do that, right? And so what if I had the capacity to earn more than enough? So anyway, I get cancer twice, another story. But then I decide to start my life coaching business so that people don't have to wait to get cancer once or twice or whatever to live a life of no regrets. And I start gaining traction. I start making money. I start being successful. And what happens? Even though I was a climbing guide and had all kinds of confidence, I had, multiple graduate degrees, I start doubting myself. Oh, well, this must all just be luck. Surely I didn't create all this, right? Surely if people really knew who I was, I would have no business at all, right? These are the things that come up as we stretch our boundaries, as we expand beyond our comfort zone, right? And so it tells us, oh, this is just a fluke. And we think it must be based on some kind of fact because it feels so real. And we think, well, someone who's actually talented, who's truly smart, they must never feel self-doubt or imposter syndrome, right? So we look at someone like Beyonce. Beyonce, my daughter's been listening to Beyonce obsessively. I love me Beyonce, but oh my gosh, she's obsessed right now. So anyway, I think we look at someone like that and we go, oh my gosh, so brilliant, so talented, so fierce and strong and powerful and hot. And literally millions of people give her money, validating that externally. Surely she does not experience imposter syndrome because for her, it's not true. Only for me, it's true. And that's why I must experience this self-doubt about what I'm capable of, right? But you should watch, watch the documentary Homecoming. It's like Beyonce experiences imposter syndrome, experiences self-doubt. It is a thing. It is a human thing that we do when we get to our growth edge. So we need to stop believing the self-doubt when it arises, and we need to start just noticing it as, oh, this must mean I'm at my growth edge. This is what happens to me now. When I experience that anxiety, that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, I go, ooh, all right, this is a good thing. It means I'm at my edge, and that's what I want. I want to grow. I want to evolve. There's an Outward Bound saying that we used to read on the Outward Bound courses. It was like, ships are safe in harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. I already recorded my podcast, but I wish I didn't because I would drop that fucking truth bomb in there, right? Ships are safe in harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. We as humans were built to grow and evolve, to expand beyond our comfort zone, to feel a little uncomfortable or a lot uncomfortable, to do things where the outcome is not guaranteed, right? So when the self-doubt arises, it's a very human thing to keep us safe, right? It arises because our brain goes, hold the fuck up. I have been trying to be an efficiency machine for you, to predict dangers, all of this shit. Now you're wanting to do something differently. Stop. Let's make sure you're safe here. Are you sure? Who are you to think you can do this? Blah, 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 blah. Trying to keep us safe, right? And then add to that patriarchy. That basically tells people socialized as women, oh, you aren't good enough, right? Getting that message all day. Add to that, right? A consumer society. You're not good enough as is. You need to buy more, consume more, have more, right? So we get messages all around us, right? So while those sort of structural elements of society can exist, it doesn't mean we have to buy into it. It doesn't mean we have to believe the thoughts that are being implanted in our mind about that, right? We can choose to say, yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to believe that. So the imposter syndrome can arise and we can say, oh, welcome, have a seat, sit down, let me get to know you. Kind of like the Buddha did with Mara. The Buddha sitting on the night of his enlightenment. Mara comes, throws at him anger, lust, greed, all kinds of stuff. And he rides it out. And then Mara leaves the next day, but is not fully thwarted, comes back regularly. And, the story goes that the Buddha doesn't just push Mara away and go like, ha ha, I got rid of you, be gone. You're just screwing me over. He's like, come, have a seat right here. Let's chat a bit. Tell me about this. And I think, oh my gosh, like this was doing parts work, like, right? Like in a psychedelic assisted therapy, we talk a lot about parts work. And it's like, let's listen to this part of ourselves that has the doubt as we would just listen to someone venting. We can listen with compassion. Gotcha. But we don't have to believe the story. And we can say, thank you. Gotcha. I'm in charge now. Right? I'm a big girl now. I can handle this shit. And thank you for letting me know you're concerned. All right. Next. Right? Inviting self-doubt to tea. Inviting self-doubt to take a back seat now. Like, it's okay. I got this. I get that you're stressed out. I get that you're trying to keep me safe. And I don't need this anymore. Right? So a lot of us quit ahead of time. We fail ahead of time because we don't want this discomfort, right? We don't want this discomfort of, I'm not so sure about myself. I'm not sure if I can do this. What if we have all this anxiety and we go, fuck that feeling. I don't like that feeling. And so we let go of goals and dreams because it brings that up when we're at our growth edge. It brings all that up. And then we fail ahead of time. But listen, y'all, this is so important. If you take one thing away from this call, it is going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel shitty. Either way, if you choose to go for it, to go for that next big dream, self-doubt's going to arise. Imposter syndrome's going to arise. That anxiety is going to arise. If you don't, you're going to have what if syndrome, right? What if I had done that? What if I had gone for it? Regret, doubt about the purpose and meaning of your life. It feels shitty either way. So which sort of flavor of feeling shitty would you rather have? The one where you're taking action to go towards your dreams, or the one where you choose to feel shitty and not even try? Me, I want to choose the version where I try, right? I hope you do too, because it's so important. You have a gift to give. You have a dharma that you are meant to bring to your people, to bring to your world. And if you don't do that, the world is missing out on that. So I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's difficult, and it's totally normal. It doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. It's not like there's some truth arising that we realize when we have self-doubt. It's not like, oh, now reality is setting in. No, self-doubt arises because we're human when we're living on our growth edge. It gets a little uncomfortable. But listen, every time you get to the other side of that, you feel pride. Think about I think about climbing, right? And like lead climbing, and you're so scared, right? You're on the lead end, the sharp end of the rope. You're getting like scared, and then you get through it. Every time you do that, there's pride. Your Ziji, that Tibetan word for radiant inner confidence, your Ziji grows. Every time we get to the other side of the self-doubt, to the other side of the imposter syndrome, we feel amazing and so proud of ourselves, and our trust in ourselves and our self-respect grows. So every time I take a goal to the next level, whether in my relationship or my family, with my business, with my financial goals or whatever, that imposter syndrome arises, that self-doubt arises. And now I recognize it as my old friend that's kind of annoying. Like, come, sit down, hang out. And so I'm just feeling my frizzy hair here. I went camping this weekend. I guess it was like more than the weekend because I'm still having camping hair. But so we want to remind ourselves nothing's gone wrong and we can move through this. So how do we do this? Here's a process I want to kind of invite you to try to participate in. Okay. One is you have to be mindful that it's happening. Okay. You have to be mindful that you are even experiencing self-doubt. And that may sound obvious because you're like, yeah, it feels really shitty. I know when imposter syndrome comes up. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is recognizing that it's thoughts and not a fact. Because so often we have the awareness of the imposter syndrome, but we don't have the awareness that it's just thoughts that we have choice about. So we have mindfulness that it's happening, and then we have mindfulness of our thoughts. We recognize it as thoughts and not as truth. Okay. And I go into more depth into this process in the podcast that's going to drop tomorrow. So definitely check it out. Right. But then, we can kind of go through Byron Katie's 4 questions. So like one being like, we ask ourselves, okay, so with this thought, like, I don't know what I'm talking about, for say, is it true that I don't know what I'm talking about? And we kind of reflect on that. Yes or no? And then we ask ourselves again, if the answer is yes, we ask ourselves, can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Right. And that invites us to really think further, because usually what I've found is when I ask myself, can I absolutely know? Even if I find some evidence that might prove it, there's also evidence that it's not true, right? Then we can ask ourselves the third question: how do I show up in the world when I believe this thought? When I believe that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about? When I believe that I'm not cut out for this, right? Do you withdraw? Do you give up? Do you push people away? Do you hide? Do you buffer? I know my people. Y'all like to buffer. We like to over drink. We like to over everything, right? So like, is that how we show up when we believe these limiting thoughts about ourselves? And then we can ask ourselves the fourth question, right? Who would I be without this thought? Like if I could pluck that thought from your brain, how would you show up in the world? Joyous, fun, light, connecting, reaching out, taking action, not afraid to fail, right? Then we remind ourselves, so I have a choice here. Do I want to believe this thought? Do I want to continue to believe this thought? Because it's all a choice. Even though it doesn't feel like it, right? These thoughts and beliefs are choices. So you have to decide if you want to attach to and believe those thoughts or not, right? And you might think, well, duh, why would I choose to believe that? Of course, I'm not going to believe that, right? But here's the thing. You still want to consciously decide to not believe it, to choose to not believe it, because that is training your brain to see that it's a choice. Like, look, I just did it. I made a choice, right? So we also come at it with some self-compassion. We come at it with compassion for that part of us that wants to protect us and keep us safe, and that part of us that is wanting to get over the self-doubt, because those two parts of us are real. They can butt heads sometimes, right? Because look, ZG, Radiant Inner Confidence, it helps you take action and helps us leave our unique gift to the world. We each need to do that. I believe that, right? So can we all agree today that the next time we feel imposter syndrome, that it's just a sign that we're living on our growth edge, right? And that this is exciting and that it's a good thing. This is a human thing. Because that's what I remind myself of now when it arises. Some days, hard days, I have to sit down and really do my thought work and my meditation and remind myself. And then other days I can see it come and go for what it is, right? My thoughts. Because the only thing keeping you between what you have now and what you want is the belief that you can't have it, that you can't do it, that imposter syndrome, that self-doubt, right? And that's always going to be there. So Ask yourself, are you gonna get better at managing that so that you can stop hiding your dreams and hiding that doubt? Fuck yeah. Like, I hope your answer is fuck yeah, because we need you to bring that out into the world, right? You are capable of manifesting the life you were meant to live, just like a fucking caterpillar is meant to become a butterfly without even questioning it. It's inevitable. We just have to believe it is inevitable. So we keep taking action. So when that self-doubt arises, we go, okay, hi, I get it. I'm at my edge. Thank you for showing up. I'm in charge here. I'm going to choose a thought that better serves me because I'd rather be uncomfortable now than uncomfortable later when I wonder what if I don't go for it, right? Okay. All right. Oh, you are so welcome, Mel. Mel says, when I felt this in the past, I asked myself, what is it others perceive to make them think I am so capable, so worthy of praise, so worthy of respect, so worthy of good income? Exactly. Those are some of those imposter syndrome questions. Acro Yogita, this so resonates. I'm definitely at my edge. Melinda says, that leads to recognition of what others see in you that you don't see in yourself. Thank you for what you share. Yes. Deborah says, thanks for the tenderness of your presentation. The message is one I know. However, your authenticity is critical to absorbing the truth. Yeah, and sometimes we need to hear things a bunch of times in a bunch of different ways before it lands. It's like, oh, that's what that was about, right? For sure. Blanca says, listening to you had me in tears. I realize I'm a multi-passionate and I'm positive those of us here listening relate. Yes, I'm aware now what my question to the universe is. You answered it, made me fully aware. Now, what do I do with this? Yeah, come join us in Freedom School or the Adventure Mastermind. By the way, people, 3 spots left in the Adventure Mastermind, adventuremastermind.com. Go, just apply, at least apply. It gets you through the process. But, we take action, right, Blanca? One step towards that every day. One step towards that every day. Like, so that we're not getting stagnant, right? And going through that process that I went through, right? Byron Katie's 4 questions, doing your thought, becoming aware, the mindfulness of your thoughts, asking yourselves, is this true? And then moving through, who am I but when I believe this? What's possible when I don't believe this? And I have a choice, right? Yeah. Oh, Blanca, I get to talk to you. Yes, I'm so stoked. Awesome. Okay, you all. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being the badasses you are, for stretching your comfort zone, for even thinking like I don't have to settle, right? That's why you're here. There's more that's possible. Some of us feel shitty today and we don't want to feel shitty anymore. Some of us feel great and we want to feel fucking amazing, right? All we know is that it is natural, it is human to be like, what else is out there and beyond? So good for you. Thank you for fucking showing up, waking up on this morning in this way, doing the work, doing that soul work. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Mwah. Bye, my friends.